and welcome to the web's first must-see comic and nerd culture show. Welcome to the Comic Universe. I'm Dr. J. I've got a PhD in nerd culture, and I should know pretty darn myself. And now it's time to put that PhD to good use. Welcome to the second episode of the J Files. Now, for those of you guys who didn't see my first episode of the J Files last week, the J Files is a new series here on the Comic Universe where I will be going over certain characters within comic and nerd culture. But unlike other channels and other video series that do a phenomenal job of just going through the character's history and their powers and their different feats and things like that, what I want to do for the J Files, hence the name, is kind of create my own personal opinion pieces slash psychological profiles on these particular characters. And I don't know if you guys know this, but today, this Friday, it's finally come, a day unlike any other. Avengers Infinity War is out. So what better character to do for the second episode of the J Files than the star of the movie, the Mad Titan himself, Thanos. But we're going to be talking about the comic version. But don't you worry, next week I will be talking about the MCU version of Thanos and going into more, stepping a little bit further into spoiler territory for Infinity War in that episode. But don't worry, there will be no Infinity War spoilers here because I want to give you guys much more time to see it, go out and watch it yourself, maybe even go see it a second time, which is why I'm waiting a week to talk about the MCU version of Thanos. So Thanos was created by Mike Friedrich and, of course, legendary artist Jim Starlin. Not to say Mike Friedrich isn't legendary, but most people know Thanos as a creation of Jim Starlin. He is very much regarded as the Marvel equivalent to Darkseid. But he is much more than that, in my opinion. So, I've always been interested in Thanos. The Marvel cosmology has always been kind of one of my favorite aspects of Marvel. And in comics in general, I like it both in DC and in Marvel. Shocker, someone can actually like both sides. But yeah, Thanos is really cool. Fun fact, he actually first appeared in 1973 in Iron Man number 55. That's right. The Mad Titan actually started out as an Iron Man villain. A lot of people don't know that. And Thanos has gone on to star in just this huge decade-spanning epic, from Jim Starlin, spanning Thanos Quest, Thanos Quest, the Infinity Gauntlet, of course, Infinity War, Infinity Siblings, basically everything with the word infinity in it, except for Jonathan Hickman's Infinity. Yeah, Thanos is a very interesting character because Thanos, he, in a lot of ways, is a lot similar, at least his comic version, to Hitler. And I know, bringing up Nazis is a very touchy subject, especially in today's climate, but hear me out on this one, alright? So, if you go back to Jason Aaron's miniseries, Thanos Rising, we learn more about, Thanos' origin, obviously, and he goes more into depth. Of course, it's retconned because, that's what you do in comics, but Thanos, we find out, is the child of an Eternal and a Deviant. And so that's the whole reason why, unlike, he doesn't look like his siblings or anyone else on Titan, which is where he's from, and he grew up ostracized and hated by everyone else, but throughout his entire life, one person that he constantly saw, the one person that he believed saw anything in him, saw any kind of potential in him, the one person he thought that loved him was Death. Death, the embodiment of death, herself, the entity, Mistress Death. I've said death so many times now, it probably sounds annoying, but yeah, Thanos has been obsessed with Mistress Death since the get go. His entire goal for the Infinity Gauntlet storyline was to wipe out half the universe to appease Mistress Death, to bring her death and destruction so that she can be happy. Because really, when you look at Thanos, especially his comic version, that's all he wants. He wants Death to be happy. He wants Death to love him. And, as twisted as it is, somewhere in the back of your mind, you gotta relate to that just even a little bit. Everyone's had at least just that one experience with that one girl where you're just like, yo, I gotta do whatever I can, however I can. I gotta do it. I gotta do whatever she needs. I gotta do whatever she needs to make her happy. When she says jump, I just say how high, to the moon or to the sun. And that is what Thanos does. And you gotta admit, like, dude has some serious conviction. He is dedicated to his cause, and man, does he have the power to back it up. Like, even without the Infinity Gauntlet, Thanos has gone toe to toe with the strongest beings in the Marvel Universe. People like Galactus and the cosmic entities themselves tremble in fear of Thanos. This man has trained some of the strongest characters in the Marvel Universe, like Gamora, like Nebula, and of course, several of his children, like Thane. Thane is a huge problem in the current Marvel Universe. But really, if you really look at Thanos as a character, you peel back all his layers, he's honestly just a heartbroken man on an eternal quest to fulfill an unrequited love. And that love just happens to be the literal embodiment of death. So he's trapped in this toxic relationship, and that's what makes his story so interesting. It's kind of like why people gravitate towards the Joker and Harley Quinn, and very much like I say whenever I see those relationship goals post with Joker and Harley Quinn, Death and Thanos should not be your relationship goals. It's a super toxic relationship. She doesn't reciprocate any of the love he gives to her back. He works time and time again to please her, and she can never be satisfied. She's never happy. And that's why Thanos is so bitter and angry, and it's what drives him. It's what makes him strive for power, to make her notice him, to make her believe he is worthy of her. Because that's the whole thing, right? He has this woman put on this pedestal, and he just can never reach it. It's like Sisyphus, rolling the boulder up a hill only to have it fall down again over and over. No matter how many times he tries to please Mistress Death, it can never happen. And that's kind of the tragedy of Thanos, and what makes him such an interesting character. He's flawed in that way. He can't see his own folly in trying to pursue death because death will never love him. And that's, again, just the tragedy of Thanos and why I think he's such an interesting character. Personally, that's my opinion. I know most people just like Thanos because he's super badass and he kicks a lot of ass, takes a lot of names, but he usually doesn't have many names to take, so it's mostly a bunch of ass kicking. But I like this nuance to his character, and I love how manipulative he is and how intelligent. How not only does he beat the shit out of people, but he will mess with your mind and just your very essence, what makes you you. He will find out, what you value the most and rip it away from you piece by piece with a smile on his face. And that's what makes Thanos one of the most terrifying villains in all of Marvel Comics. But yeah, guys, that is my little opinion piece slash profile on the Mad Titan Thanos. What do you like about Thanos, at least from the comic version? What are some of your favorite Thanos stories? What are some of your favorite things you've seen Thanos do? What do you think is the most interesting element of Thanos' character? Is it his design? Is it his power set? Or is it that relationship with death and that constant struggle of unrequited love? Now, I might just be reading too much into it, but that's kind of my job, right? So you tell me in the comments down below. Do you like Thanos? And if so, what do you like about him? And if you don't, tell me what you don't like about him. Why do you think he's boring or bland or just a dark side ripoff? Tell me all this in the comments down below. As always, don't forget to leave this video a like to let us know you enjoyed it. And stay tuned because on Sunday you're actually going to get a double dose of the J Files, and we will be talking about Venom. That's right, everybody's favorite symbiote, Venom. Since that new trailer's coming out, there's a lot to talk about, and I have a lot to say about one of my favorite Spider-Man villains. So stay tuned for that. I hope you enjoyed this episode. In the outro card, I will leave linked uh, the review that C-Dubs and DPZ did about Infinity Gauntlet, in case you want to see, our coverage on that famous Thanos story. And I will also leave in the outro card my previous episode of the J Files on Superman. And I will also, don't forget to subscribe to the Comic Universe. We are your number one source for news, reviews, and much more. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you get notified every time we upload a new video. And if you like what I do here on the Comic Universe, you will definitely like what I do over on my main channel, Mr. J's Reviews. I cover TV, anime, manga, uh, movies, comics, video games, generally all things nerdy, you name it, I cover it over on my main channel. So if you like what I do here, you'll definitely like what I do over there. I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe. I will leave my channel icon somewhere up there in the outro card as well. So hope you enjoy. Until next time, this has been Jay from Mr. Reviews, and like I always say, once a comic geek, always a comic geek, and once a Thanos fan, always a Thanos fan. Until next time, guys, this is Dr. J, and I'll see you in the universe. Peace.